our excellent start to the season, I still think we could have a couple of transfers to make before the window shut, but I'm yet to see much out of hiring intermediaries, as I have tried several times with Pablo Fornals, but the value gets lower and lower, and then he just refuses to go. Bournemouth is our next opponent though, just after the window shut, and this is all I seem to be getting back from the intermediaries: loan deals with optional future fees, and that's very frustrating. Even with Kudus coming in, I feel like I still need one more midfielder for depth, and I noticed John McGinn is on the transfer list for the same amount as I have left in my transfer budget. So I pulled the trigger. So he has considerable interest, but he does want to be an important player. I can't guarantee that I'm going to play him every single game. I kind of want him to be like a regular starter more than anything, but I think he might kick off about that. He's actually alright with it. Okay, now it's just down to wages. I hate it when they do this. I just go ask Noble and then see what they come back. 77. So I think that's actually what he's already on at Aston Villa. I'm pretty sure I seen that his contract was already 77 grand. So I mean, he's a lot patient. His agent's very patient. We can bring him down a fair amount, and even his like bonuses aren't even that much, to be fair. This is quite a cheap deal, to be honest. I think he's just one of these guys who just wants to play football, and I'm happy to give him the football. 68 grand a week. That's a good deal in my opinion. We finally had another bid for Antonio. It's just whether he actually goes, because I think I've accepted 2 bids now. Both times he's rejected the contract, so hopefully he actually leaves and goes to Fulham. But into the transfer deadline day we go, and no movements in and out as of yet with Antonio or McGinn. But 2 offers have come in for Ben Johnson. One, a loan deal from Palace, which I don't like. However, the bid from AC Milan, I'm going to accept. Finally, Antonio has decided to leave the club and join Fulham, and we also have an offer for Fornals from Everton, which again is a loan, but has a mandatory future fee involved, and I'm going to negotiate slightly. Half of the team are annoyed that we sold Antonio. I'll deal with that, but Johnson leaves to join AC Milan, and Everton match our negotiated bid for Fornals. And John McGinn is on his way to London, and we get the deal signed. A midfielder with Premier League experience and the type of resolute player that I want to be playing for West Ham. And finally, Pablo Fornals has decided to leave too and join Everton, with around 9 hours left of the transfer window. I think I'm happy with this squad though. It's a shame I can't register Ogbonna, but I have decided to keep Ben Rama for now in case we do pick up some injuries. Europa League draw time, and we are in pot 2 as the second seed, and we eventually arrive in Group H alongside Bayer Leverkusen. A difficult first team there, but the next club to join is AEK of Greece, and finally the last team to join us is Rakow from Poland. Definitely not the hardest group that's here. We should definitely qualify from it, probably battling Leverkusen for that top spot. But with deadline day passing and the window shutting, it's time to focus back on football and our home match against Bournemouth. Kudus comes in with Souček dropping to the bench alongside John McGinn. And we started the game off putting Bournemouth to the sword immediately, with James Ward-Prowse playing Gabigol through to score just after 4 minutes. But the man of the match was the debutant Mohamed Kudus, who just signed from Ajax and picked up his first goal already from midfield. Bournemouth didn't offer much, and in the second half, Edson Alvarez fancied one from range to make it 3-0. And when I say they didn't offer much, I meant 1 shot all game and 40% possession. And that result puts us second only behind Arsenal at the moment, who somehow managed to still beat Newcastle 5-3 after being 3-2 down in the 90th minute. What a mental game that is. We continued our excellent performance after the international break with a fantastic win away at Wolves. But in the Europa League, we travelled to Athens to play AEK and got absolutely crapped on. They completely destroyed us, and whether we were just having an off day or not, they were lethal, scoring 4 goals against our very good defence. Not what I expected at all. Back in the Premier League though, and Jared Bowen gave us the feel-good factor again when we hosted Brentford, as he scored the only 2 goals of the game. Maybe the AEK match was just an off day. Or not, because Nottingham Forest has just knocked us out of the Carabao Cup. Still, we could go top if we win our game in hand. However, the next run of games did not go as planned. I mean, this is completely night and day from the team that we have seen at the start of the season. We started off with a 0-0 draw to Crystal Palace, and alright, Crystal Palace can be a very difficult club to go to, but we were not playing anywhere near like we were previously, only creating 6 shots on goal. We did, however, have a high possession, so maybe we're just at one of those teams. In Europe, we are completely flumping it. We then go and lose to Bayer Leverkusen, who came across, so we actually played them at home. 81st minute winner, unfortunately, from Jonas Hoffmann. And then when we played against the Polish team, again at home, 17 shots, 0 goals. Mohamed Kudus has also got injured as well. Hopefully that's not too damaging to the rest of our season. And we only managed to pick up 2 wins in the league. Now, we did also lose to Tottenham Hotspur. That was an away game. Kudus got a late equaliser, and then unfortunately Sarr scored in the 88th minute. I kind of expect us to have a troubling time at Tottenham. But then the Luton game, this was a 1-0 win. It wasn't a great win. It was a goal from a free kick. Thankfully, we've got James Ward-Prowse, and Aguerd had a nice little header at the back post there. And Everton, 2-0. I mean, maybe this is the sign of things changing around, because Barbosa and McGinn both got on the score sheet. We had a good amount of shots, a good amount of possession with 64%. But we need things to change for sure to go on if we want to compete and hopefully get some European spots at the end of the season. I don't know how, but we are still level on points and in the second place. However, Manchester City are also on 23 points too. But as you can imagine, we're bottom of the Europa League group. Kudus fractured his wrist and will be out for another 3 weeks too. With Lucas Paqueta being the main guy playing from the left-hand side at the minute, I'm going to change the role to be more of a playmaker out there who can sit narrower, hold up the ball for runners, and have a bit more freedom to roam more. November started with a 1-0 win over Burnley at home. It wasn't a good performance, but right back Mavropanos found the goal. We also finally got a win in Europe when Raquel's market just went running away from Ben Rama, so must have just left the oven on or something. We were put in our place when we travelled to Anfield though, unfortunately. But we followed that with wins against Forest and AEK, thanks to a James Ward-Prowse free kick in the Europa League. I think the Christmas period will be a bit make or break for us though, because we've got 8 games in total and then some big ones in there as well. You look at the back half of it, Manchester United, Brighton and Newcastle. That's 3 really difficult games in a row. Luton Town, maybe we can pick up a nice 3 points there, but that Bayer Leverkusen game is going to be really important for our Europa League and for the rest of our campaign, because at the minute, we're not qualifying for the latter stage of the Europa League. We'll drop into the Europa Conference League, and we're guaranteed to do that. Of course, the competition that West Ham won last year. But if we can get a result against Leverkusen, we go through to the next round of the Europa League, and that's what we need to aim for. We started the month absolutely robbing Sheffield United at Bramall Lane with this Barbosa goal, which was our only shot of the whole game. It was a lot more even in the game against Chelsea, but they took the lead from the spot. However, in the second half, we pieced together a wonderful attack, setting Barbosa free to score an equaliser. And Jarrod Bowen kept momentum rolling with a 94th minute winner against Fulham just before the Leverkusen game. But it's going to be Conference League football for us on Thursday nights as Leverkusen scored the only goal of the 96th minute. Well, we scored it. It was an own goal. And again, I was worried when Manchester United beat us 2-0 with us having just 1 shot on target again. Thankfully, things picked up from there because we hosted Brighton next and Gabigol scored within 4 minutes. It was a nice goal as well. We didn't really give them too much in the match statistics. Only 4 shots in them, but we had a lot of shots ourselves and again had a lot of the possession. We then had Newcastle travel to us and we defeated them 2-0 as well. So 2 good teams there, I think. We could have really struggled with, especially off the back of that loss to Manchester United, but we held on. We got 2 goals against Newcastle, beating them 2-0, and most importantly, the 2 clean sheets, which was really nice, and again with Luton as well. Another 2-0 win going into the new year. That gives us a lot of momentum. I don't know what's going on, but the board have given me another £40 million available to spend this January, which we may have to use because James Ward-Prowse is out for the rest of the season after doing his cruciate ligament. An option that I found right away on the transfer market is Joe Willock. He's only £36 million, so we've got enough for him. And yes, he's not the exact same type of player as James Ward-Prowse, but we do have other players who can kind of take set pieces and be a bit more of a ball player. Joe Willock is more of a ball carrier. And I got a feeling that I might have to maybe sell Lucas Paqueta in the future. Joe Willock could be a fantastic prospect to kind of fill that role and be a good squad player for the next couple of years. Fantastic acceleration, agility, everything like that. The work rate and all of these types of mentals I love, and he's a good ball progressor. So I'm going to have a look around to see if I can find anyone better, but Joe Willock is definitely on my list. Palacios at Leverkusen is another player I thought about who actually helps in different roles, maybe when we are also missing Alvarez. My concern is that we are struggling to register players because we only have 6 homegrown talent. So I'll do a bit of scouting first, but we've got to face Palace on New Year's Day. And with more than just James Ward-Prowse out because the amount of games in the African Cup of Nations, we still managed to play well, holding 60% of the ball in the possession and came out 2-0 winners at London Stadium. At the cost of 2 more injuries though to Areola and Ings. Before we make any signings of our own, an interesting bid came in for Kehrer for a loan with a £16 million mandatory fee, and I'm happy to accept that despite him not paying his wage during the loan spell. We were given a tough 3rd round tie against Arsenal in the FA Cup, and hilariously, Kehrer scored a winning goal from a well-worked free kick routine. I noticed a bid going for Willock from PSG for a loan, and it forced me to make a decision, and I put a bid in for the English midfielder myself. The fact he would still count as a homegrown talent was a big factor really, and someone who I think can utilise more than just one option on the pitch in the future, even when Ward-Prowse returns. Kehrer, though, decided to reject the move, however, to West Brom. And Joe Willock then turned us down for a move to sit on the bench for PSG. Looking at homegrown talents then, who counts for training in England, so I'll actually register them. There's a couple that I like. Iberieze would have been the first option, but he's just signed a new contract, really annoyingly, so I can't actually offer him anything. He just refusing to even talk because he's just signed that contract. So I think I'm going to have to go with Angel Gomez. He's very similar to Joe Willock, just probably not as good. Plays in the French league, 23 years of age. I think we might have to go with him. Let's hope he hasn't just signed a new contract. No, it's going to cost us a lot of money. Really is. I don't know whether I want to do this, you know. I might go for a cheaper option. Alright, let's try a bit of an outside choice then in William Clem. We'll ask his availability. He's going to cost us a lot less, and he's going to gain a work permit. And I think because he's under 19, we're not going to have to register him because he's under that 21-year-old bracket. So let's make a bid for him, I guess. We'll go for him instead of the other options that we have. We're going to save a little bit of money and actually have like a player for the future. So a good choice, I think. Clem got himself a work permit accepted and signed for West Ham, but that still left us with a lovely bit of transfer budget. And with the squad depth not looking very strong right now, I decided to try and bring in a young winger from Nice called Buonanni. A great backup option for Bowen, as well as someone who we can train to play from the left-hand side as well. Back to football though, and from Arsenal in the 3rd round to Liverpool in the 4th round for our FA Cup journey, but a replay is needed as we finished our 2nd game in a row 0-0 against a Merseyside club. He was given a start against Tottenham because of Bowen's injury, but it was Gabigol who was the difference maker here. Deadline day and Kehrer finally leaves, meaning we have £32 million of the transfer budget, which I'm going to save for the summer. February domestically was absolutely dire. We started off losing 1-0 to Newcastle from a penalty, straight into the FA Cup replay again. 1-0 against Liverpool away from home. Luis Diaz with the only goal of the game. Then we played Aston Villa. It was a 1-1 draw against, well, we had 10 men, but they scored in the 90th minute, which is the most annoying thing ever because we could have really done with that momentum. We had the European games coming up next, which we won both legs. Against Union from Belgium, we won 3-1 in the first leg there, 4-3 in the second leg, but already qualifying for that Europa Conference League, the next leg, round of 16. But it's a 2-0 loss against Manchester City and then a 1-1 draw. It's a very bad month for us overall because outside of the 2 European games, no wins whatsoever in any competition, but yet we're still in 3rd. We're some way off top now, we're nowhere near top, but we're still in 3rd, and I think we can be proud of that. In the Europa Conference League, we've been given our draw. It's against Lille. Maybe I should have bought Angel Gomez after all. In that next round against Lille, however, we did take the lead when our cross was deflected in for an own goal. But of course, Angel Gomez had a say in the result, and he assisted the equaliser in the first leg. Thankfully, though, it didn't cost us from qualifying, as when we travelled to France, we came away with a comfortable 2-0 win to progress through to the quarterfinals. However, again, we couldn't win a domestic match in March either, with Liverpool next and join Frankfurt in Europe. And yet, even though we haven't won a game in 2 months, we still sit in the top 4 for now, with Chelsea and Arsenal right behind us, and even Nottingham Forest being a surprise contender, just 3 points behind too. First leg of the Conference League quarterfinals we played in Frankfurt, and Hiroki Ito scored the opening goal. It was important that we then kept a clean sheet, and we went even one better when Danny Ings ended his goal drought to give us a 2-goal advantage. He also scored the only goal of the second leg, sending us through to the semi-final. However, our winless run in the league continued with losses to Liverpool, Nottingham Forest, and a draw to Sheffield United, where they scored with the last kick of the game. We finally picked up 3 points when we travelled to the Vitality Stadium and came away with a 2-0 scoreline win, and Danny Ings scoring once again, a man on form. Unlike Gabigol, who is struggling for goals and only has 9 in 31 appearances, which is why he's been dropped lately. We face a familiar club in the semi-final in Aston Villa, and if we do go through, we could end up with the same final as last year if Fiorentina beat Fenerbahce. But we would have to pull off something miraculous to get there, because Aston Villa came at us from the off and banged in 2 goals at the London Stadium without a response. Arsenal at home fell in between this time. We really needed a win to put ourselves back into the Europa League, and it took just 1 goal and possibly a horrendous goalkeeping error, but Souček got us the 3 points we needed. Unfortunately though, no miracles could be created at Villa Park. So we crashed out of the semi-final of the Europa Conference League. Annoyingly, we would have actually played Fiorentina in the final. So I'm a bit gutted about that because that would have been quite funny to actually have done. But we've got 2 games left in the Premier League. 36 games played, 63 points. Still a chance. It's an outside chance, but there's still a chance we finish in the Champions League spots. So, I mean, who would have thought? We've got Brentford and Wolves as well in the last 2 games. 2 very winnable games. So let's see what we can do. In that penultimate game against Brentford, it was Ben Rama with the only goal of the game against his former club. And it goes down to the wire though, as Chelsea nicked the 92nd minute winner to keep them in 4th. So on the final day, with 1 game left, we need Arsenal and Chelsea both to drop points, which could happen with Arsenal away to Fulham and Chelsea away to Liverpool. Now the good thing is here that Aston Villa held Liverpool to a draw in their penultimate game of the season, meaning Liverpool haven't won the league yet. It was a 94th minute Mohamed Salah equaliser after Moreno put Aston Villa 3-2 up. So they almost lost that game. But that means that Liverpool are only 2 points ahead, meaning they have to get a good result on the final game of the season against Chelsea. So that might do us a bit of a favour. We also need, obviously, Fulham to do something against Arsenal. Fulham are mid-table. I haven't really got anything to play around with. So hopefully something happens there. We just need to make sure we beat Wolves first, though. And we do have a couple of casualties, but still a strong lineup. But we did just that. Once again, 1-0, but from a Kurt Zouma header. However, Arsenal grabbed a 91st minute equaliser at Fulham, but still 4 behind us in the league. But this Nicholas Jackson 94th minute goal changed the whole season's outcome, because that won the game for Chelsea in the final dying minutes. So unfortunately, that keeps us in 5th place, which we can still be proud about, but it means Manchester City become champions, leapfrogging Liverpool on the final day of the season. So it is Europa League football for us once again next season. However, the ever so sexy Karen Brady has told us we have £60 million to spend this summer.